Welcome into another edition of NHL Tonight First Shift. EJ Hradek alongside Kevin Weeks for a Tuesday, October the 15th, 2024.
Nice.
Good to see you again.
And you as well, partner.
Yeah, we had 6 games yesterday. Had
Yes.
a fun slate of games. You had that crazy Ottawa game.
That was a football game, as you said yesterday.
Yeah, that was a wild one. And then the Islanders go into Colorado and get a victory last night. So the Islanders are on the board. The Avalanche still looking to find their way. But we got 9 to talk about tonight. And we got a little news for the viewers. So let's bring in JD, our producer. JD, fill us in. Let the viewers in and let them know what we're doing.
Yeah, it's not necessarily news, but we do have every day on YouTube. This show is available as a podcast. It's audio only on YouTube, but you can listen to our entire program, which is great. We're working on getting it into more platforms, so stay tuned there. Keep everybody posted. But yeah, keep your eyes on social media channels as we're uploading select interviews, segments. Speaking of interviews, tell the folks who we got today.
Oh yeah, we got a good day. We got the great Mike Modano.
Yes, sir.
Longtime Dallas Star, joining us a little bit later, and also Stephen Walkom, the head of officiating for the National Hockey League, and we had a great time with Stephen over in Prague talking to him. He's such a great hockey guy, loves the game so much, so we thought we'd like to get him on and talk a little hockey with him. So we'll have Mike and Stephen on the program today. So we got a good one for you, and we got 9 games on the schedule. But Kevin, we got to start with what's going on in Columbus tonight as the Columbus Blue Jackets, their home opening game of the season. Obviously, everybody knows about the awful tragedy that took place in late August with Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew losing their lives in a tragic accident. There you see their dad, Guy Gaudreau, on the ice for morning skate with the Blue Jackets, and the Jackets will be celebrating the life of both Johnny and Matthew tonight before their game against the Florida Panthers. There's going to be a number of different ways they do that this evening. There you see a team photo with Guy Gaudreau, Johnny and Matt's dad, right in the middle of that photograph there. So it's going to be an emotional night in Columbus. You can see here, 7:30 the doors will open, 7 o'clock the pregame video and ceremony celebration of the life of Johnny Gaudreau. And we'll have it for you right here on the NHL Network at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So, you know, I know this has been something that's weighed on all of us, hockey fans, the hockey family. Everybody has kind of tried to rally together around the Gaudreau family. And I think it was great. Guy was out there. He was with the Flyers earlier, and then he was out there with the Columbus Blue Jackets over the last couple of days. It's going to be an emotional time there tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be really emotional. And I think I love your last point, because something I think that's missed for a lot of people that haven't been a part of the game or haven't grown up in the game is the essence of the game is family. That's the essence of our sport. Yeah. And starting, you know, at 6 or 4, whenever you're introduced to the game, and the entire, you know, your entire journey through the game, right up until I was just talking to Mike Modano. Yeah. Your entire journey through the game is intertwined with life and family. And hockey is one of those sports that's very family-centric. Make no mistake about it. And I think your point about the greater hockey family rallying around the Gaudreau family and their loved ones and their friends and their teammates, and offering an extended sense of comfort and helping them through their grieving process collectively, because we're all grieving in different ways. I just think it's really remarkable how the people in our sport are able to elevate and even do more in times like this and lean on each other and be a source of strength for each other. So great hats off to the Columbus Blue Jackets organization, the Flyers organization, as you had mentioned as well, in doing so. And the Flames have done an outstanding job of that up in Calgary as well. And we'll continue to rally around them and give them as much collective strength as we can.
Yeah, no doubt you need it in a circumstance like that. And tonight you talk about the community of hockey. In the pregame skate, both the Blue Jackets and the Florida Panthers will wear commemorative number 13 jerseys that they will wear tonight in the warm-up, and those jerseys will then be auctioned off. The money will be used, you know, for the Gaudreau Foundation and help that family and help the things that they're looking to be involved with moving forward. So a great job there by the Florida Panthers as well.
Yes.
And it will be a kind of a profound night there in Columbus. They've decided tonight would be the night to really honor and celebrate the life of Johnny and Matthew, and then their game on Thursday night against the Buffalo Sabres would be what they would normally have as a home opening type game. So I think that, you know, that whole ownership group, the management group, Donnie Waddell, I mean, he just walks into this. Dean Evason just walks into this. These are new guys in Columbus this year, and I think everybody involved, John Davidson and that whole group there, have done a really outstanding job of being supportive and trying to do whatever they could to help the family and help really the hockey community, because you saw the outpouring of love and affection both in Calgary and in Columbus at the arena in the aftermath, with people coming, leaving sticks, leaving flowers, leaving jerseys. I mean, it was something, you don't want to ever see it, but it was amazing, the outpouring of love for the Gaudreau family.
Yeah, exactly. I think I've said this on our show a lot. I have a lot of family in Alberta. My wife's from there. A lot of family and extended friends went to the Saddle Dome up in Calgary to pay their respects to the Gaudreau family. And we've really seen it across the NHL. Like this is something, since it first happened, the outpouring and the expressions of support and of love and of comfort in what they're going through right now, that can't be understated. And it's not only the clubs that they played for, the Flyers, because you live in South Jersey in and around there, and the Flyers, that's kind of their neighborhood, their area.
Yeah.
And they've done an amazing job under Jonesy and Danny Briere and
John Tortorella,
Coach Torts and everybody in rallying around the family as well. So that's, to me, again, that's what I think sometimes we get into the X's and O's and we get into the power play and the penalty kill. But I can't overstate this enough. I know this from my own experience in the game and my family's experience. Hockey is a very family-centric sport. And when you think of the game, and anybody in the game in any role, you think of family.
Yeah.
And tonight we're thinking of the Gaudreau family, as we will for many nights. But this tonight specifically in Columbus, I think that'll be an amazing kind of display of that, and offering them the strength that they need and we all need as we kind of go through that this morning period.
Yeah, and it's interesting because as a team, right? Like Johnny Gaudreau, he was a funny guy.
Yes.
And a lot of times, I from what I understand, one of the things I like to say, oh, he's a donkey, or that's what I hear you use it a lot, right?
Yeah.
It's a little chirp, right?
Yeah,
The guy's
exactly.
a donkey. This is after the game the other night, their first win of the season, and fittingly, I guess, Sean Monahan, a longtime friend, former teammate in Calgary, who came to Columbus with the idea to come and play with Johnny Gaudreau, wearing the donkey hat.
Yeah.
And I guess everybody does this now. Teams do different little things to kind of, bring their group together. And in Columbus this year, they're giving out the donkey hat to the player of the game, and you can see Sean Monahan wearing it with pride there, doing an interview after their win in Colorado on Saturday night.
I love that. That's a way of kind of having him be a part of it, right? Of having not only the memory, but his spirit be a part of this current team, this year's team. Of course, physically not possible, but the spirit is the essence of the person. And I think that's a great way to remember him and a great way to incorporate him, because he was really a big part of every team he's been on. Everybody I talked to at Boston College said the same thing. Everybody I talked to up in Calgary, people we know, said the same thing. Everybody in Columbus during his time there said the same thing as well. And Team USA in the World Championship. We were just over in Prague.
Yeah, it's really kind of it was a bizarre coincidence for us. We were in that building, the O2 Arena in Prague, where Johnny Gaudreau played what turned out to be his last game as part of Team USA at the World Championship. So, he impacted all the different teams, as did his brother Matty, involved with a lot of different teams as well, and coaching and helping in different ways. So, tune in tonight at 7 o'clock if you can. I think the Columbus Blue Jackets, I think, are going to really do a great job in celebrating the life of Johnny and Matthew, and it's going to be a special night, an emotional night, and we're going to have it right here for you on the NHL Network. Amongst the other games tonight, the Calgary Flames, Johnny Gaudreau's former club, they've gotten off to a good start. They're in action tonight against the Chicago Blackhawks. They've won their first 3 games, surprisingly, rallied in Game 1, coming back from a big deficit in Vancouver to win in overtime. And, they are rolling right now, trying to make it 4 in a row. And how about the good play so far of Jonathan Huberdeau? 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 points. I mean, this is really nice stuff to see for a guy who's been kind of a maligned player since coming over from Florida and not achieving and not producing the kind of numbers that he did with the Panthers.
Yeah, and I played with a lot of high-end. I mean, some of the best offensive players in the history of the league. I was fortunate to play with his teammates, right? And sometimes those high-end offensive players, when there's a change, as there was for him, the major trade, we know that trade. Yeah. Sometimes that's very heartfelt for them, and it's difficult for them to get over emotionally, psychologically. He didn't just lose his hands overnight. He didn't lose his ability to make a play, right, or to read the play, but you're coming to a different conference. Florida was your favorite team as a young kid, even though you grew up in Quebec. Then you got drafted, you played there, and you're an outstanding, one of the best players in their franchise history. So now it looks to me as though he's settled. And also, too, you can see the joy on his face, too.
Yeah.
There's something to be said for that. And for him now, he's off to a great start. He looks like the Jonathan Huberdeau that he's been throughout the 97% of his NHL career to this point. And that's a great sign for him and a great sign for the Flames, but especially the Flames winning the Battle of Alberta.
Yes, just beat the Edmonton Oilers the other night. Nice victory.
Commanding 4-1. Commanding victory in Edmonton as well in their provincial rivals. So that's always one of the best rivalries in sports, and that one was a great game. But I like what I've seen from the Flames so far.
And how about, the other guy that came over with Huberdeau, Mackenzie
Weegar?
I'm a big fan of Mackenzie Weegar. I mean, I thought he might be a guy that somebody would try to grab last year. He's a right shot guy, playing on the offside too, and he's been a factor so far with 2 goals, 3 points, and with Rasmus Anderson there as well. He's got 5 points on the blue line. I mean, those are guys that can help you win on a night-to-night basis. They're working at a lot of younger players.
Sure.
But they got some horses there. When they're going, I think the Calgary Flames would probably be tough to deal with.
I agree. I had a really good chat with Mackenzie Weegar at Player Media Tour in Vegas about a month ago, and I was really impressed. I met him along the way. But in speaking to him for a more extended time, I was really impressed with him.
Get to know him a little more.
Get to know him a little bit more. Ottawa native, powerful, big, imposing, physical, team-first guy. But you know when he really jumped off the radar for me each? Do you remember when Ekblad got injured a couple times in Florida?
Yeah.
And Mackenzie Weegar stepped right into that role.
Yeah.
This was before Forsling had become, and Montour. Weegar stepped right into that number 1 slot. And he really impressed me then. But speaking to him, I've been very impressed with him. So you're right. That's a great point. He's often unmentioned there in their mix. He's a very good defenseman for
and
them.
Naz Kadri is, still getting
Nazem
it done a little bit
Kadri's
later
Nazem
in his
Kadri.
career.
Love
But
him.
he signed a long-term deal. Everybody was like, well, it's a lot of money, a lot of term. But he's a helpful player. You look at the lineup right here.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in between Kuzmenko, who is kind of an offensive guy, really gifted guy below the dots. He can score goals. And then Hanzik, a rookie. I mean, that's not like you're not playing there with Messier and Gretzky, right? I mean, and for Kadri to come in and be a helpful player there. Anthony Mantha's gotten off to a good start.
Very
2
well.
goals, 4 assists.
Yeah.
I mean, if Anthony Mantha ever puts it all together,
I'll tell you.
he is big. He has got offensive skill. He has been someone that originally drafted by the Red Wings. It just didn't happen on a night-to-night basis. The Capitals had him. It was the same thing. He went to Vegas at the deadline. I think he ended up getting scratched in the playoffs in Vegas. This guy is big, strong, fast. He can shoot it. Like, if it ever comes together for him on a consistent basis, and maybe it will now in Calgary, look out.
I agree. And with Anthony Mantha, he can fight and throw them. As well. He can throw them.
He's already involved.
He's already involved in a tilt.
Yeah.
But one thing that I think will be very interesting for them, I like the Lamborghini coming over too from the Stanley Cup champs. Ryan Lomberg, always a fan of his. But one thing I'd say about Mantha, here's a little subtle detail that I think might be kind of reinvigorating for both him and also for Huberdeau. Both Quebecers.
Yeah.
So they're playing on the same line, right? On that second line. Both high-end offensive IQ guys, creative, skilled, read the game. And I think that there's some synergy there, especially with them being from the same province. It looks like there's some synergy early, probably off the ice, but also on the ice as well with their chemistry.
They're producing, and they got Martin Popso in the middle there.
Yeah.
And he's kind of a pain to play against.
For sure.
I mean, big number 76 out there. Nobody seems to like playing against that guy.
Creator.
So we'll see how they make out tonight. They got the Chicago Blackhawks in Calgary tonight. Connor Bedard and company, the Flames, trying to go 4-0. When we return, we're gonna keep it in Alberta. Flames are playing well. The Oilers, however, are not. We'll try to figure that one out next. Well, the Edmonton Oilers are at it again. Last year, the start of the season was a disaster. And so far this year, it's been much the same, despite going all the way to the final last year and everybody thinking they could win the Cup this year. The numbers are not great. Their head coach, Chris Knobloch, discusses.
I wish I had an easy answer. That's not just put your finger on it. And one, you got to have guys in the right positions, moving their feet and, making the right passes and knowing who's where and when. And, everything's just, I guess a good word to say is disconnected. Sometimes a lot of those things are in line, but if you're missing one, then it just doesn't work out. And, just moving the puck up together and generate a little more offense. Everything's just not going as it should. It's something that's obviously we have to play with more desperation. And I think when you had a season like we did last year and coming back and the expectations being really high, I don't think there's enough desperation. I think we can just show up, play hockey, that's good enough. But this game's about playing with desperation, and right now we're lacking that.
Very interesting. The coach talking about the urgency, the lack of urgency in their game, and you can see here worst goal differential, and two of those teams at the very top. We figure them as playoff teams, and look, -12 for the Oilers, -10 for the Avalanche. For the Edmonton Oilers, you would have thought that after that terrible start to last season, ended up getting Jay Woodcroft fired, you would have thought that it would have been on their mind to get off to a better start this year. I don't love their group of defensemen, but they've only scored 3 goals so far. They're paying a lot of people to score. They got McDavid, they got Draisaitl. I mean, they're not scoring right now, and that's a big problem as well.
Yeah, for whatever reason, the offense is anemic, which is kind of uncharacteristic of them. One thing you can count on is them to light the lamp, score goals, make plays, push the pace. The power play is almost indefensible typically when it's on. But the penalty kill is only 44.4%, as we showed on that board.
Remember how good they were in the playoffs?
It was unreal.
Last year? They were scoring. They were
exactly.
a plus.
Yes.
On the shorthanded situations.
Agreed. So, as I look at their team, the way they're currently constructed, yes, they're missing Evander Kane. Make no mistake about it, because he brings a different element to the team. Yeah. He can bring the game into the alley. He can fight. He can score. He can shoot. But all that to say, the Calgary Flames just absolutely handled them in that last game 4-1 on Sunday in the Battle of Alberta, no less. And in watching the Oilers, to me, they seem to be a step behind in every phase of the game. They're not really initiating; they're more reactionary.
Well, that's what Chris Knobloch said. We're not urgent. We don't have that urgency in our game right now. And this is the time of year. 32 teams, all starting fresh. The teams that know it's going to be a struggle, this is their time for hope, right?
That's right.
The Flames get off to a 3-0 start. Yeah. For some of the Utah Hockey Club has gotten off to a good start. You have to match that urgency, and if you don't match it, you're going to look bad and you're going to lose, and that's what's happening.
Yeah, and it's hard to rescue. You can only rescue so much.
Yeah.
Like last year, they were able to rescue their season. They were 31st in the league at one point, second last in the NHL.
I gave up on them. You did not.
Right, I did not.
I remember being on with you.
And here's the only reason I did not. One guy in their group last year said, Weeksy, once our big boys start playing the way they can, and they will, we'll be fine and we're going to make the playoffs. I was like, pardon? And it was Evander Kane that told me that. I couldn't believe it. Yeah. But he had a belief. They had a belief in their group, but it's tough to rescue. It's tough to rescue games. You've got to get off to the best start possible, accrue as many points, get them in the bank, let them start gaining interest, because you don't want to be chasing points. That's a tough way to play. They did that last year, but that's a tough way to play.
And when you remember Game 7 last year, I mean, listen, everybody's out of gas at the end.
I agree with you.
But they didn't.
Say it, Age.
They looked out of gas in that game. Now they had won 3 in a row. They were chasing all year. They were chasing in that series.
That's right.
They were chasing all year. You would have thought they would like to get off to a good start this year. They had a 4-game homestand, and they've squandered it. And now they've got the Flyers and John Tortorella and company coming in tonight. Mm-hmm. And this is not the time of year you want to play eager teams like that, because, again, your level of urgency will be tested.
Yes, and when you play the elite teams, and I go back to when the Wings were the Wings. Mm-hmm. Wherever you played them, but certainly when you played them at Joe Louis Arena, you're down 2-0 before the game started.
Yeah.
When you played Colorado in the day, same thing. Dallas when you were there, same thing with Mike Modano and company. Same. Chicago when they won the 3. The Tampa Bay Lightning in this iteration. The Penguins when they were out there. Those teams want to serve notice. Yeah. They don't want to put any doubt that they are who they are. They want the opposing teams to have that psychological disadvantage playing against them, to say, oh gosh, we're going up against these guys. Yeah. And you want to reinforce that every game. So the Oil they've got to start drilling for some oil right now.
Yeah, McDavid, 2 points, 2 assists, -5. Draisaitl just signed the big deal. He's got a goal. That's it, -4. So when those guys will get going.
They'll get going.
And when they do, we think the Oilers will be better. But they need a better performance tonight.
No doubt.
At home against the Philadelphia Flyers. When we come back on First Shift, we're going to talk officiating.
Nice.
Go to the top dog, Stephen Walkom from the National Hockey League, to talk about his career path and what's going on with the officials. That's next. Stephen Walkom is the Senior Director of Officiating, Senior Vice President and Director of Officiating at the National Hockey League. He's been in that role since 2013. Of course, he was on the ice for many, many years. You see the numbers there, over 1,000 games, 4 Cup Finals, 2002 Winter Olympics. And what's not up there is that Stephen is Kevin and I's traveling companion from Prague. It's some parts of the trip, and we got to spend a lot of time over there. So Stephen's so kind to join us today. And Stephen, thanks for being with us. I want to just start by asking you this simple question, because a lot of fans, they know that you're the head of officiating at the NHL. They might know you from your time as an official in the league. But how did this all start for you? You grew up in North Bay, up in Canada. How did this all start? How did you get into officiating?
Yeah, well, the short answer is my dad didn't want to see us idle at the rink, and they built an indoor rink, and we had been playing outdoor hockey for a long time. So he felt like we should be busy before practicing games. He made my brother and I time keep like 3-4 hours before we would be allowed to go on the ice on the indoor rink. And we found out the refs were making $1.50 and we were making 75 cents. So we said we can ref.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's how we got into reffing. It was, it was pin money, but back then it was good money.
No doubt. And what was, when you first kind of got into the reffing, what was the most difficult part of it when you first started?
I think it was the cold. It was 30, 40 below up in North Bay in the wintertime. Well. And, but we played so much hockey that I never really found reffing that hard. And so reffing was kind of fun. We made it fun. My brother and I made it fun. We ripped down around the ice and, calling an offside or a trip. That's what you did with a lot of the smaller kids in hockey. So we just had some fun with it. We wanted to play and we had to do something at 8 o'clock in the morning. So we stayed busy.
You're doing that as kids, right? You're going along. You're probably still not thinking you're going to be reffing in the National Hockey League. I mean, when did it dawn on you at any particular time that, like, hey, I can make a career out of this?
Well, in North Bay, we played the highest level hockey right through midget, juvenile, junior B, right up to junior. And, we all thought we were great hockey players. We played hockey every night on the outdoor rink. But then you'd have a guy like Ronnie Francis come through from Sault Ste. Marie, and he was so good. And he was so much better than the rest of us. We knew when we didn't get drafted when you're 18 years old that you're not going to play. And it was either, my father was one of those guys that was like, you get a trade, you can go to school, but otherwise you're on your own. And just did reffing as a hobby to stay in the game. Loved hockey. And like I said, I never found it that difficult. I loved the camaraderie in the dressing room with my teammates. And, it was a good way to serve the game.
Walks, what was your welcome to the show moment?
Yeah.
Welcome to the National. What was yours?
Oh, well, in 1980, in the late 80s, they used to use trainees. We were making $100 a game in the International Hockey League, American League.
Yep.
They'd use us as standby in the first 2 rounds for the 4 games. And we couldn't wait to do that because, like for me, I didn't want to tell anybody, but I'd never been to an NHL game. And,
awesome.
I'm going to a game and I'm the standby ref and you're like, I want the guy to go down just for a little bit, just to give me a chance, But, the late, great John McCulley, he was the boss then. And I love being at games with him because, he liked treats and I love treats. So I felt like I was eating popcorn and candy all game. I said, this gig's for me. I can do this.
That's awesome, man.
Oh,
so good.
That is crazy. How about, we had your resume up there. You reffed Stanley Cup Finals. You reffed at the Olympics. I mean, what are those big moments like? Because, like, for the players, we always ask them, right? It's a bigger game. It's a bigger spot. How about as for your officials and even the guys that you're mentoring and help now as they prepare for those big moments? What are those like for the officials?
They're big. I mean, as an official, you earn a lot more than you're ever selected for. So you always think you're not moving fast enough. You always think you're not getting picked. But when you're in those moments, you really feel like you belong there. And I don't know. I think my favorite moments in hockey really are watching my kids play Division I hockey. Like, I gotta tell you, watching your kids play hockey probably gives me a greater thrill than any game I ever worked. But I love being in those moments. You worked hard to get to those big games, and when you were selected for them, you just wanted to go out there, work hard, do your job, and allow the players to be the stars that they can be.
You know, Walks, I loved when you were doing our games because you're always such a great communicator. But you also had some wit about you too. You had some fun. So let's bring the viewers inside. Let's bring the viewers in. Camaraderie is a big part of your officials group, and you set the tone under your leadership. But with that, some of the camaraderie, we had a chance to have some of that with you over in Prague for the Global Series, you know, when Buffalo was there and the Devils. And we can recall you being on the flight, and you tried real hard. You tried really...
Putting that bag in the overhead.
He was trying to get that bag in the overhead.
It was really tough.
And listen, the Devils were 2-0, but that overhead was 1-0 against you.
It was 1-0. I'll tell you what, it was probably the best 3.5 minutes of the whole trip for me to watch that unfold.
The latch was broken, and all those people that needed help with bags, you two couldn't get out of your seats. Don't worry about that. I helped them out.
Oh boy,
that's so good. But no, I just want to expand on that though, on the camaraderie piece. Because you told us some great stories, and you know we've been around and we see the room and the refs room, and it seems like there's like a really strong, of course, a strong sense of professionalism, but they really enjoy it. And it's almost like an infectious kind of joy about what they do, and you set the tone. Maybe you could tell the viewers why that's so important.
Well, I think it's important to love hockey if you're going to officiate. You're on the road a lot. There's a lot of days away from family, so you better absolutely have a love for the game of hockey, and find a reason that you can't wait to get on the ice to serve the game, and know that you are serving the game, and it's expected that you will know that you'll go on, you'll work hard, and you'll do your very best every night. And what's important for all officials really is that if it's stressful for you to referee, if you can't handle the emotions or understand the emotions from the players and the coaches, then you owe it to the game to step down a level where you are comfortable, where you feel great about doing a good job. And I think our guys, it's why they miss it so much. There's a real physical and mental reward that you get from doing a hockey game, and it doesn't matter what you do in life. You can own your own company. You can be a VP. You won't get that adrenaline rush that you get after working a good hockey game, and you don't get it from anyone outside. You just know it. You know it internally. So. I would say that that's what should drive our officials. Those are the type of athletes that we're looking for. And but it doesn't matter what level you're doing. You need to recognize that you're giving to the game. You're not taking from it.
Great.
Stephen, you've been on the ice. You've been in this role now for the last bunch of years. Where are we with the game right now? Where are we with the rules? Where are we from the official standpoint? What are you seeing? Where do you think we are? Where do you think we're going?
I think the game's in a fantastic spot. I get a real sense that the players are loving playing. The fans really believe it's a compelling product that they're watching every night. We can, if you can't, they always say if you can't measure it, you can't fix it. Well, if we look at the metrics of the game, whether it be the goal scoring for the last 3 years is over 6 goals a game. There's lots of entertainment. The pace of the game, the speed of the game, it's at a really good level. Of course, we'll fine tune it all along the way, but the game's in an excellent place, and I really don't think we should be looking for symptoms to problems that don't really exist in the game.
Well said.
Well, Stephen, thanks so much for taking a few minutes for us today. Thanks for all your great work you've done both on the ice and in your role now overseeing the officials for the last, I guess it's more than a decade now. And I also want to tell you that Lufthansa has named you Passenger of the Month. So congratulations for that as well.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, good luck with the show, guys, and
right.
enjoy the hockey season. There's some great hockey ahead.
You
Thanks
got
so
it.
much, Walks.
Stephen
Appreciate you,
Walkom,
man.
thank you so much, Walks. We appreciate it. Coming up next, hey, how many people have a statue? Not many.
Right?
Not
That's
many.
true.
This guy does. Mike Modano.
That's a good point.
Longtime Dallas Star, Hall of Famer. He's next on First Shift. Boy, oh boy, it's a good day for me when I get to talk to Mike Modano.
Yeah.
And he's joining us today. And look at this. Leads all U.S.-born players in hockey history, points-wise, 1,374. Member of the Hockey Hall of Fame and a friend of the show.
Yes, of course.
And I've known Mike for many, many years now. Mike, thanks so much for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate it. I just got to ask with a simple question, because I don't know a lot of people that have this going for them. What's it like to have a statue of yourself somewhere in this world?
Can't lie, it's pretty neat. Pretty cool deal. So it was a great weekend. Was an awesome event. Dallas did a great job as always. They've done phenomenal. Brad Alberts and Dan Stukel, guys that you know well from back in the day. So they just put on a great show, and boy, the color, the whole look, the whole thing turned out great. So was pretty happy. Everybody was there enjoying it, family, friends. So it was pretty emotional. We got rained out. We had to take it inside, but I think that was even harder to do in front of the whole fans. So it was a tough one.
Mo, what was the main emotion that you were feeling?
It's not too many. I've been lucky to share in a lot of moments and I guess milestones with the fans of Dallas, and a lot of special things have happened there during my time there. So I think that's what's emotional. It so hits home. There's a lot of great accomplishments we did individually, myself and our team wise. I felt like this was kind of the final celebration that we could have, but to have a statue, doing the jersey, the retirement, everything that we've done down there. I mean, it's just, the fans were a big part of it. To sell the game down there that we thought wouldn't exist, it wouldn't happen, be successful, to turn out the way it is. I mean, that really meant more than anything.
Well, listen, you deserve it. There's no question. You were part of helping grow that game in Dallas. If anybody deserves it, it's you. I want to ask you this, because I've referenced this a few times. I was there when you guys came from Minnesota, the North Stars, to come to Dallas, the Dallas Stars. We're seeing something similar right now with the Utah Hockey Club. They leave Arizona. That was under very, odd circumstances. They become a new franchise in Utah. They're a new franchise, but the same players. I felt you guys got a really big bump of energy from being in Dallas that year. Go back in your memory. What was that like to be the new kid in town like the Utah Hockey Club is there in Salt Lake?
Well, I think we all, as a team and individually, thought, here's a chance to kind of clean this, wipe the slate clean and start fresh and see if we can build something positive. We felt we had a pretty good little base of nucleus of guys that we had in Minnesota drafted at the point, and then we went to Dallas and things seemed to get better. I think once Tom Hicks kind of came on board and we kind of went out and secured some players that we needed to get, that then it was just kind of Stanley Cup or bust there for the last few years of the 90s and early 2000s. So, it was just a novelty. I think people just really were grasping the game of hockey. I think we felt the advertisement, the selling was to get people in the stands, seeing a game live at Reunion. There's no bars, no suites, nothing going on. You have to come, grab your 16-ounce, sit down and watch the game, and no one moved for 2 hours. So you're like focused in on this game. And I think we had Shane Churla, we had he was out there just going to town on guys, and we had some speed and we had some success. There was a big combination of things happening on the ice that fans, I think, down there didn't really realize until they were in the building. So I think that was a big selling point. And then, obviously that honeymoon phase runs out, and you have to put a winner and some teams and players together, and then we're kind of off to the races. But Salt Lake's a great city. I spent a lot of time in Utah. I mean, I think they're just going to grasp that team. The owner looks great. He's just going to be able to push that team to another level. But Yeah, it was exciting. I mean, Texas, Utah, a little bit different. We didn't think he even existed in Texas at the time, but now it's become, one of a big hockey bed for a lot of young kids and minor hockey. So we're pretty fortunate that we went to a scenario that was tough. Obviously, we talked about with the Cowboys winning 3 and 4. It was tough to sell hockey in those early years of the 90s, but eventually we got our run.
Mo, listen, a lot of people talk about being the young stud player, the teen idol, and selling the game off the ice and then playing at an unreal level on the ice. More important, you did both. Like, what was that like? Like, long before we saw Austin Matthews and Kane and all these young electrifying players we have, it was Mike Modano, the Modano Show. You were appointment TV. What was it like to be a young idol in those days for you?
I just, you don't have the attention like you have now with everything you got YouTube, you got just the internet. I mean, you're just inundated with highlights and everything every day of games and radio shows and TV shows, 24/7 hockey. So you didn't really have that much for ourselves going on at the time. So a lot of it was, you're selling to your local fans, you're selling to Dallas, trying to get the fans to buy into the game, to get excited about it. The entertainment factor. So I think we're trying to be a little bit cuter than we probably needed to be, and be creative and entertaining, put some numbers on the board, have a fun type of game, that style that we did play. But it was a grinding type style we played, but it was successful and we won. But I was doing a lot of PR, a lot of selling the game, and we're all over the place doing Hockey 101 for people and young kids and trying to sell the game to the youth. And we always felt if the kids wanted to play and wanted to go to the game, they're going to give their parents the puppy eyes, and the parents are, okay, we'll go see a game. And then they got the bug, and then they wanted to play themselves. So I think we felt that whole thing snowballed the game into a level that we never thought we'd get to. But it was a lot of hitting the streets and selling the game the first few years.
Mike, you were a guy that just had tremendous speed when you played, and, it was always a thing that watching that jersey kind of flap in the wind as you were flying up the ice. Today we have a lot of guys that play at that level. I want to ask you about Connor McDavid, though, because obviously he is at the very top of things. He got to the final last year, came just inches short of winning. When you see Connor McDavid play, what are the thoughts that go through your mind? Because, I mean, he plays at that high tempo level that, you were close to that level.
Yeah, I mean, I love the way the game's played now. I love the speed and everything. I love the fact that they're 3-on-3 in overtime. I think that would have been a lot of fun to be a part of with Zubov and Brett Hull.
Oh yeah,
it's whoever wins that draw has the puck the whole time. But it's a lot of fun to watch. But I love Connor. I love Nathan. I love guys just doing things at high speed, high pace. The one thing that just drove Hitch and Bob Gainey nuts is I did all our skating drills with a puck, and it drove them crazy, like put the puck away, but they bag skate us, stop and starts. I always wanted to do the pucks. I felt there was always this like level of speed with the puck.
Yes.
Without it. So, I felt if I could, I could move without it, but if I could keep that speed up when I do hit the puck and you have that separation, you find some space, and Connor does that better than anybody in the game, just the all-out speed. But these guys come late. They come through the neutral zone with 100 miles an hour, and it's fun to watch. But, I think, Hitch tried to reel in some of that speed and say, hey, you need some stop and start in your game, face the puck a little bit. But then, to learn that, he started having me kill penalties. I'm like, there's no better way to be better in your own zone is to kill penalties. You have to stop, be in the face-off zone, good on draws, get your stick in the lane. So it helped me evolve that 5-on-5 game to, you can't score in your own zone anyway, so you got to build some speed as you go. But I'm a big Connor fan. Love watching him.
Mo, well, you told me life's busy for you guys right now. How so? Tell the fans what you guys are up to.
He is busy.
Yeah,
he is busy.
Yeah, tell the fans.
We graduated from the minivan. We got a big Suburban now, so we don't have to worry about the doors getting slinged open and hitting other cars in the parking lot where I got to leave a note. Hey, we dinged the door. Call me. We'll get things fixed. But yeah, it's all out basketball. Our twins made the travel basketball team,
Sweet.
so that's a big deal. So they love that. We'll, like I told you, we'll be going to the Vikings game this Sunday against the Lions. Big game there, the old Norris Division rivals.
Yep.
Yeah, some of them, the younger ones are hockey, a lot of tennis, soccer. I mean, man, we're just going.
So you have 5 children, right?
I think so.
We're not trying to get him in trouble.
You might have 7.
We're not trying to get him in
might
trouble.
Have 7. So, who knows?
We got 5. It seems like 9 at times.
Yes.
We know what he meant.
Running around here, but
yes.
I'm lucky I got a great partner. She keeps things under wraps. She's got a great calendar. I'm just told where to be. My phone beeps. I'm like, you got to get to practice at 6, and I'm there. So I'm lucky that she's kind of the CEO here.
All right.
That's
very
impressive,
good.
man.
I love it.
That's great.
One
That's
quick
great
one
stuff.
for you. We just had last week. We had your fellow American star Jeremy Roenick on the program. He's going to the Hockey Hall of Fame. Any message for JR as he gets ready for the big day coming up in November?
I'm happy for him. It's been a long time coming, and my greatest JR story is we had such great rivalry when he was in Phoenix and LA, and he goes to San Jose. We're getting towards the end of our career, and the puck, we're playing in Dallas at American Airlines Center. The puck goes in our own corner in our own zone. I go back to get it. Then I hear this voice behind me saying, "Hey Mo, it's me. I'm right behind you. Everything's good." So I turn around. I'm like, JR, that's not like you. You wait to, I'm kind of coming around in that or something else. I'm like, what happened to you? You were getting soft and nice in your old age. So, it's not like before you'd come. I knew I had to keep my head on a swivel when I was playing JR, but he was a tough competitor. Boy, I think he made me a better team, a better player because of it and our rivalry. But I'm certainly happy for him. Hope I can be up there and be there for him. But great guy, and I wish him well.
All right. Well, Mo, thanks so much for the time. I know you're going to be playing in that Pro Rivals golf in Florida coming up in December. He's a great golfer. He's a great hockey player. I mean, I don't know if there's anything this guy doesn't do well.
He's got a good golf coach in the house, too.
Well, that's right. That's right. Wife was a pro golfer as well. But thanks so much for the time. Get back to those kids.
Yeah.
I will. They're coming around off the bus right now.
All right.
Thanks, Mo.
The great Mike Modano.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Mo. One of the great guys.
Awesome.
In hockey.
Top shelf.
It's time now for the Top Line Parlay presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. And
what do we got?
JD, our producer, we did this last week. Not so good.
It was a tough scene last week, but you know what? I feel like you live, you learn, little experience here. Maybe I was overswinging a little bit last week. Today, we're going to try and hit a couple singles. Let's see if you like what we got here this week.
All right, let's take a look at it. We got the Devils and the Hurricanes. First 10 minutes, under 1.5 goals, so low scoring at the start. That makes sense, I think. And the Devils, that's the way the Devils games have gone so far this season in the first 5. So
I like that each.
I like that. We're on board with that. And then the Dallas Stars, first period is minus 0.5.
At St. Louis?
No, San Jose.
Oh, San Jose?
Dallas.
I see it there. Oh, I see it there now.
So that's just them to win the first period.
They have to win.
Dallas to win the first period.
Oh, they got to win the first period. Okay. Now it's all. I'm not the expert sometimes on all the terms in gambling, but I like that. So I'm on board for.
I like that. I
can get
behind that one.
Dallas Stars, they haven't given up a goal in a couple of games now. They're playing off to a really good start. One of those 3-0 teams trying to make it 4-0. San Jose, of course, without Celebrini on the IR after making his NHL debut. Tyler Seguin, I believe, is going to be out for this game for the Dallas Stars, so that's something to keep an eye on. But I like where JD's going so far. And here's the third one. Here's the third one. Chicago at Calgary. Over 1.5 goals in the first period. So if you add it all up, those three together, you get plus money, plus 323. I think he might be onto something. I think that learning mistakes that happen.
Yeah.
You learn, you make adjustments. I like that.
I like that. Hey, the way the Calgary Flames are playing too right now, they've been very impressive to that point. So, I see what JD's doing there. I can get behind that parlay.
Yeah.
3-leg parlay. I can get behind that.
I like it. How about Jonathan Huberdeau? 3 goals, 5 points so far. So, JD, we're on board.
All right, good. I'm glad. Team first shift here. Synergy. Let's go. Let's try and make the people a little dough.
All right, there you go.
Give a hit, take a hit. That a boy, JD.
So there it is, our DraftKings Top Line Parlay. When we come back, the Washington Capitals are thinking about fiddling with Alex Ovechkin. Could he be moving from left wing to right wing? What do they say about not fixing something?
When it's broken?
When it's not broken?
When it's not broken.
We'll discuss.
All right, we'll break it down.
This week on DraftKings Sportsbook, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the app and sign up with promo code FLY. DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
Here's a look at the lines, projected forward lines for the Washington Capitals. They get ready for game number 2 of the season at home against the Vegas Golden Knights, 3-0 on the season. And look at this, Alex Ovechkin on the right wing. What do you make of that, Weeks?
On a strong side, listen, I think it's good. We talked about it off camera. When you're playing your strong side, you don't typically have any deficiencies, right? Because your stick's in the right place. You can get pucks off the boards. It's easier to get them off the boards in the defensive zone. Same thing when you're in the offensive zone. So, listen, we know he's done a great job of playing on the opposite side, right, on his off wing.
Has it? It's worked out well.
It's worked out pretty well.
Worked out pretty well.
He's in pursuit of Gretz's all-time goal record, of course. But listen, Spencer Carberry and Alex Ovechkin, what I like about this they've got a really good relationship in a short amount of time. There's a lot of trust that's been built there. And let's see how this works out. I think it'll work out well.
Now, on the power play, he will still be in that left circle for sure. That's not going to change.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those things. It's like, let's try it.
Yeah.
Let's see if it works. Maybe we have other players on our team that just work better on the left side. Maybe that's all part of this.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it works. And I'm sure that if it's not going to Alex's liking, he will be back on the left side.
Of course. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
A very intriguing matchup.
Your boy, Logan Thompson, play against his former club tonight.
Yes, playing against a team that gave him a shot, the Vegas Golden Knights and Washington Capitals. That'll be a big matchup for LT. He's been an all-star. I've been a big believer in him since.
I know, you guys are good friends.
Yeah, I'm big supporter of LT. I think he's a bright young goalie, very talented, huge one. You want to put on a show, Each, against your former squad.
Well, there'll be money on the board.
There better be some cake on the board.
Better be a little cream on the board tonight.
Some cream.
Cake, cream, it's all the
Don't
same.
be tight.
And don't be tight.
No.
All right, listen, for Kevin Weeks, EJ Hradek, thanks for joining us today right here on First Shift.